The woman that I've chosen is Arundhati Roy. She's an author and she's a political activist. She's from India. The reason I've chosen her is because when I was probably about 14 or 15, I read her first novel, A God of Small Things, which was written in 1997. It won the Booker Prize, and it was just kind of something that was in my house, and I'd never really thought about reading it until one of my parents kind of pulled it out for me. I learned so much about the history of India, the history of a place that I, have a connection to but had never been to at the time, and it really kind of consolidated my understanding and my interest in colonialism. It really tackles a lot of really interesting issues like the caste system in India, the treatment of women, and also colonialism, and it kind of just spurred my interest in that at a really young age. She's also an incredible activist and uses her voice and uses her very powerful words in a way that really challenges quite a destructive government at the moment in India. She's been very vocal about the treatment of Kashmiris, the links to colonialism, but also about how the current government and the Hindu nationalism, the wave of Hindu nationalism in India at the moment has completely devastated the lives of the people there. She gets into trouble a lot. She very often is in danger because of it, but she just keeps on going, and I really respect her.
The person who I've chosen to talk about is Frida Kahlo. She is already very well known as being an icon of intersectional feminism, but to me, as somebody who developed a disability in childhood and who's spent most of their life living with chronic pain, finding out that Frida Kahlo also had the experience of a life lived in pain, and that did not stop her from being one of the most powerful female artists and female activists of the recent history. It made me feel like I could do things, and to me there was something really powerful and really inspiring about understanding her both as an artist and as an activist, understanding that her art was able to be an expression of her anger, and that she was able to work in the world and work in this really confrontational, really honest way without letting anybody tell her to shut up or letting anybody step over her. She was also bisexual and extremely interesting as an individual person, and I just found her fascinating as a child and absolutely inspiring as an adult.
I've chosen Silvia Federici. She's a scholar and a teacher from Italy, and I've chosen her because many years ago I was studying philosophy at university and I was starting to get into feminism and I came across her work, and her work really links feminism and anti-capitalism in a way that I hadn't seen before. So Silvia Federici co-founded the International Feminist Collective in the 1970s, which then went on to campaign for wages for housework. So the Wages for Housework campaign argued that while most men were on the labour market, women were at home working by nurturing the next generation of workers. And this work they did was hugely important to capitalist society, but it was undervalued and never paid. And Wages for Housework campaign argued that their work was just as valuable and they should be paid.
The person I want to talk about is Letizia Battaglia. She is a photographer and reporter from my hometown, Palermo. And she's always inspired me because she's one of the first people to speak out against the mafia in the 70s, where nobody would dare talking about it. So what she would do is go in on a crime scene and take pictures of people killed by the mafia, and that way she would expose the brutality and the impact on society, and uncovering those power structures that nobody would want to talk about. So her pictures were not just shocking and eye-opening and put people face to face with the reality that they don't want to look at, but they were also instrumental in the fight against mafia. They were used in court, and they exposed connections between politicians and mafia people. Today many people would know about the mafia, and actually it's one of the first questions that people ask me when I say I'm from Sicily. They're like, oh yeah, that's where the mafia is from. People think about the Godfather and all those things. But nobody actually, well, very few people know about the people who have fought the mafia, and especially the women who have been involved in the anti-mafia movement. And that's because mainly women have been relegated to this role of like the wife, the mother, the sister, but they haven't been put at the center of the anti-mafia discourse. So Letizia Battaglia in the 70s and then 80s did that, and she did that in a male-dominated society, risking her life obviously. And she also did that after raising 3 children and getting out of a 20-year unhappy marriage. She got married when she was 16. At the time, divorce was not even a thing, so what she did was massive, and she just stood out as an artist, as a photographer, as a reporter, and as an amazing woman.
Arundhati Roy is a badass, not only because her words and her writings are so beautiful, but also because as a political activist, she agitates and she rattles the cage of India's far-right government.
Frida Kahlo is a badass because she went through her life through a lot of pain and strife and never let it stop her doing what she wanted, having fun, or fighting back against the systems that oppressed her and others.
Silvia Federici is a badass woman because she understands that a feminist struggle must be anti-capitalist.
Letizia Battaglia is a badass because she used her art to challenge power at a time where it was difficult for women to speak out.